to the We Seek Wisdom podcast. We're honored that you're joining us here again. We've introduced the Simply Garlock book in our last podcast, and now we want to get into some of the specific songs that you will find in the book. And before we talk about that, though, let me encourage you to share this with friends and musicians and all that you would know in your day-to-day life at your church and, any place that you would come across folks who'd find this podcast helpful. And then if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button down below. That really helps us, and like the video. And what are we talking about today? Which song are we looking at first?
Well, let me mention along with what you were just saying, Tim, and that is that this is going to be a unique book.
Yes.
It'll be a keepsake, because usually if you've tried to study about songs that have been written in the past, hymns and so on, you read what somebody else said about the song. You don't read what the composer or the writer of the words actually said, what his thinking was when he wrote it. With this book, you're going to get that.
Yes.
And we've really opened our hearts, mine, and I've done it for 14,
right.
my wife. And so that's what we're trying to do. So we get something unique that we want to do.
Very true.
And so our first song that we're going to talk about was written for the Patch the Pirate series.
Oh, nice.
Now, Patch the Pirate, do we need to explain that?
Sure. There could be folks that don't know him yet.
Okay. Patch the Pirate came and said, well, I will talk about it here.
Okay.
It'd be a good place to tell a little about how this Christ-honoring music came into being.
Sounds good.
To get the full story, I suggest you obtain a copy of Shelley's excellent book. Shelley is my daughter, of course, and she was Sissy Seagull in the Patch the Pirate.
Yes.
And her book is called Always Only Good.
Yes.
She gives the details of Ron losing his left eye in 1978 while he and Shelley were teaching at Bob Jones University, and how God took what Satan meant for evil and used it for good.
Yes, good.
Boy, you know God had to do it. Perhaps the highly sought-after series would never have begun without Ron's patch. By the way, I've also taken the time recently, if you have the hymn books, either Rejoice Hymns or Majesty Hymns, or if you have the Spanish book, Himnos Majestosos, look up Ron's songs.
Yes.
They are so well written.
Yes, they are.
And God gave him unusual abilities. And right now, you and I are sitting in a room right next to where Ron Hamilton is. His frontal lobe is gone, and he can't think along those lines. He still is able to do certain things and responds, but he can't. But God gave him tremendous ability in what God was using him for his glory. And so the details are very interesting. During the summer, Ron and Shelley lived at the Wilds Camp. That's a camp that I was in the head of the board or on the board for over, probably 50 years. I finally got off the board now that I'm 92 years old. It was in North Carolina, and I led the music program when they first started out.
Good.
In the fall of 1978, the two of them, along with Ron's sister, Marty, started traveling with me, sharing special music and biblical messages. The same year, the Wilds Christian Camp and Conference Center held a fall banquet in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the organization asked us to come and provide special music. On the trip up there from our home in Greenville, South Carolina, Ron mentioned that he and Shelley would like to compose some children's music, since he had been speaking to the young people, including some elementary school children, at our meetings. In fact, Ron had already started writing some Christian songs for that age group. He had written a song for the doctor who removed his eye. Wasn't that interesting?
Yes.
The doctor's name was Dr. Bell. And he wrote a song for Dr. Bell called Dr. Bell, You Sure Are Swell. Shelley and I put Christian words to that and called it He's the Way, Oh Praise His Name. You might have learned that one if you have our praises books. We're going to talk about praises books. It is number 12 in the first praises book. Dr. Bell, you sure as well is praise the Lord. Let's praise it. He's the way. Oh, praise his name. I was driving that night, and Ron and Shelley were sitting in the back of our car. Ron proceeded to sing 3 songs. I'll never forget his 3 Christian hero songs. Jonah, David and Daniel.
Oh, good.
Those were his first 3 songs.
Yeah,
the lyrics demonstrated excellent character for youngsters, and so they could model after. The tunes were catchy and easy for children to learn by rote. Ryan asked me what I thought about them. Now, I want to explain a little bit about the song, but I believe you said, Tim, that you're going to put the music on so people can see it, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It'll be on the screen as they're listening to the podcast. They can see it there on the screen.
Listen to the podcast.
Yep.
So when I mention the measures, you can look at those, and we put the measure numbers in them.
Oh, yes. Just as when the book is available, the music is there in the text of the book as well.
Okay,
so they can
it'll be
see
in the book, but you can get it here on the screen. I remember saying to Ron that night, boy, Ron, these are great. We ought to do an album, and I will help write some of the songs.
Good.
Thus, by 1981, we had our first album called Sing Along with Patch the Pirate. Several of Florentines and my songs were on that first album as well. This song, a good example, was written for the second Patch the Pirate album. Patch the Pirate Goes to Space, that was called. Yeah. This title appears in Praises 2. I include it here because I think its message addresses a vital need today. Christian young people in the United States are turning away from Bible principles now.
Unfortunately, yes.
While Christian young people in many other countries are giving their very lives for their Christian testimony. China, Korea, Indonesia, those places. And here Christian young people are turning away. And I think one of the reasons is what we're going to talk about. While there are many reasons for this falling away, I believe one factor is that young people are not seeing a genuine dedication to Christ in the lives of people who claim to be Christians. Sadly, many who claim the name of Jesus don't really live for the Lord. Even some pastors have turned away from biblical truths they claimed they believed just a few years ago. We need some good examples for our young people to look up to and to follow. Perhaps the message of this song we remind our young people that they need people of their generation who will be a good example of Christianity. The song itself is straightforward, using a simple form of parallelism all the way through. The music emphasizes this principle. Can we explain what parallelism is?
Certainly. You have a first part and a second part, and they're connected together. Sometimes it's at the same time, and sometimes, like in a lyric, it'll be like a call and response or question answer or a
continuation.
A continuation of the idea.
Yeah, or an explanation, something along that line. That's called, it's called originally called Hebrew parallelism.
Right.
But if you study it in the book of Proverbs, for instance, you'll find if it's a contradiction, you get the statement and the opposite.
Right.
So that's okay. Now, measures 1 and 2, for instance, if you're looking at the music, and measures 5, 6 state the first part of the parallel, and then measures 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 give the continuation of the thought.
Yes.
Measures 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 round out the musical idea in each case.
Yes.
Measures 9 and 10 make short statements with a musical rest on count 4 each time. And the text of measures 11 through 12 explains why that is important. So when you're reading the song, look for those things. And that's why we take the music and try to make the music do the same thing.
Yes.
The ascending parallel tenths, when you have a tenth in the music, that's the interval. You go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the tenths, you get the parallel if they go the same direction. In measures 12, helps emphasize the importance of the words all the time. That's painting the words. Measures 13 and 14 expand on the adumbration. It's a simple statement that has profound meaning.
Yes.
Like you take Genesis 1, in the beginning, God, bang.
Yes.
John 1, in the beginning was the word bang. That's an adumbration, but it has profound meaning. So that the measures 13 and 14 expand on the adumbration in measures 9 and 10, and measures 15 to 16 make it clear how significant the principle of being a good influence is, with a rest after glow that draws attention to making our good example glow and shine.
Good. Good. What a wonderful story. And that, I believe, is the first one in the book. So once they're able to get a hold of the book, they'll be able to enjoy seeing the music in the text as well as they just saw here on the screen. And 56 other songs, which we'll get into a couple more in our next podcast coming up probably about a week or so. So thank you so much for tuning in. A reminder, share these podcasts with folks. And there's a good back catalog already. There's a number of podcasts. If you're new to it, feel free to go back and look at some of those other ones. We've talked about the Messiah. We've talked about different songs that you've written. There's a lot of great content back there, and even some basics of music theory, as I recall. Those are
Yes.
really fun ones to record. So thank you, and we'll look forward to meeting with you all again soon.